Hi everyone, this is my run on Trey's Lost Chapter in the Final Fantasy Opera Omnia global version of the game, which is the Power of Knowledge stage. And in this run, I was trying a non-Trey run. I did pull for him, but he really makes the fight significantly easier, and I wanted to try out how Gladio will fare. So the strategy behind this party composition centers around Gladio and his counters, and the reason why it works really well here is the bosses have very high turn rates, and they can also instant break and delay a single target party member. So with Gladio's counter blink buff up, every time he gets delayed, he pushes his turn back, but he can still counter attack after every single boss action, which means that you can actually keep up his counter for the entire fight, and you don't even need to extend his counter using Hope or Sarah's calls. In terms of the other two party members, I have Serah and Gabranth. I was actually trying a full non-synergy team, but I sort of caved in and used Serah because she really brings a lot to this fight. So on one hand, she has great auras, which helps to boost the counter damage that Gladio does, and she also batteries the entire party as well. But beyond that, she also carries multiple sap and poison-like effects in her kit, which comes in very handy here, especially later on in the fight. The thing about Gladio here is that you can still die with Gladio because the boss's ram attack bypasses HP mitigation. So if you let the bosses amass significant brave, they can one-hit kill Gladio still. But that's where Serah comes in. So she lowers the max brave ceiling of the boss through her max brave debuff, and she piles on brave poison effects, which also of course helps with the Lufenia orb. And that way Gladio will be able to tank most of the damage in the fight. It does get a bit dangerous when they're below 30% health, but I'll cover that later on in the fight. Lastly, Gabranth takes up the third slot as my instant breaker. There will be times in the fight where they gain a begrudging status and a yellow aura, and when they do that, they will self-delay and amass significant brave and gain 999% brave reduction, which essentially means that you do need to instant break them, which is where normally Trey will come in, but if you're not using Trey, any other instant breaker character would work. Gabranth and Strago, I think these are special mention because they can AoE instant break. So the start of the fight is pretty straightforward. It's all about getting set up, so try to have Gladio use his first two turns using Tempest and then into his LD, while Serah and Gabranth use their respective LDs to get their LD buff up. So here's an example of the begrudge stats where the game will actually tell you they enter this mode and you can see them amassing significant brave. So when they do this, they gain brave and HP reduction, and you do need to either gravity shave or instant break them. So that's why Gabranth is very useful as a third party member, as you can see here. So quick notes about summon and call abilities. So I used Odin summon here because I don't really have any elemental damage or imperil, and I don't think an imperil debuff would work very well anyway because the boss has very high turn rate and they can cleanse generic debuffs, so hence the choice of Odin as my summon. I gave Serah a root call and I used it at the start of the fight because that will actually activate Odin's blessing and give my entire party an additional 30% attack. Though I don't really think it will make much of a difference just because Serah has very potent auras already, so you can actually use other summon and call abilities here. For Gabranth, I gave him Squall Call just for the raw damage, and again there's actually many options for call here. You can consider Onion Knight Call for the turn manipulation, which may come in handy in clutch situations, or you can use other DPS calls such as Aranya LD Call, or like I use here Squall Call, or you can even consider delay calls such as Cloud or Ramza, which can also buy you time during clutch situations, especially at the later parts of the fight when they are permanently in the red aura. A little bit about the auras here. They cycle through red, yellow, and blue aura, and as long as you have someone to protect the party like Gladio, the fight really isn't too dangerous. Inside red aura, all their attacks will instant break you, but in Gladio's case that actually helps because it keeps pushing Gladio's turn back and allowing him to keep up his counter buff indefinitely. Gao is another counter character who can also enchant and imperil the earth element, which can also do very well in this fight. The only thing though with Gao is that he doesn't completely mitigate HP damage, but he can heal after every attack. Beyond that, considering of course this is also Trey's Lost Chapter, Trey is actually a fantastic unit here because he allows brave attacks to instant break the bosses, which is really the gimmick of this fight. The battle here is designed so that the bosses have very high turn rates and can amass brave very quickly, and it's actually designed to a point where you can expect the bosses to amass maximum bravery and get back-to-back turns, which will normally kill you. So Trey bypasses that by allowing any attack to instant break the bosses, or I should say any brave attack to instant break the bosses, and this will actually pair very nicely with characters that does counter type damage, such as Gladio here, or even characters such as Celeste or Firion, who can counter through their traps after enemy attacks. Trey himself is sort of like an all-in-one because he provides that instant break utility, but he also brings traps to the fight that will allow you to instant break after any boss turn, bypassing the boss's mechanic here. And of course he carries a 10% sap effect in his frame debuff, which will help you maintain the Lufenia orb. So by far and most, if you pull for Trey, he is really a star unit in this fight, and he will make your life much easier here. So around the 30% time point is where the fight can get significantly more dangerous, even with characters such as Gladio, and that's because they get access to Dusk Wing Plus and Plus Plus, which is an AoE brave attack that will instant break your entire party. And that combined with their high turn rate, as you can see here, will give them back-to-back actions, and they will get significant brave just because they broke your entire party through that attack. After that, they will use Ram, and Ram has an innate ability that bypasses HP mitigation effects. So you can see here, it brought my Gladio down very low. The idea is to try to hold off as long as possible until the enemies are below 30%, which is in the red. And by that time, you can use your friend support unit and summon to try to burn them off before the fight gets too dangerous. So here I took a risk again and decided to see if I could tank through another Dusk Wing Plus. Luckily it resulted so that my Gabranth still gets a turn, and this is where you can see the poison effect from Serah being quite important. Helps to reduce the brave significantly each time the bosses get a turn. At this point though, like I said, you need to be very careful when you see an all attack queued up, because that's an indication that a Dusk Wing Plus Plus is coming. And if once it breaks your entire party, which it will, you can run into situations where they get back-to-back turns and can then one-shot Gladio, especially here since my Gladio's turn is low. And right here is where I was debating a long time whether I should pop summon and bring in Ramza support. I was actually attempting to see whether I could finish the fight off without using summon, but considering that a Dusk Wing Plus Plus is coming up, I decided not to take the risk and then just bring in Ramza and pop my summon here. So here I couldn't use Ramza's BT effect because I'm inside summon mode, but really the boss is at around sub 20% health. So at this point it doesn't matter the launches that Ramza can do coupled with the battery that Serah provides and the HP damage up effect is more than enough to kill off the bosses before their next turn. And that's it. As always, I hope this video has been helpful, and if it has, do leave a like, comment or subscribe. It really helps a lot. Till then, I'll see you in the next Lufenia fight. Bye bye.